we go in round one of action here in the middleweight division. Czerkaszyn, coming from a Muay Thai background, has had to fix his stance a bit in making the transition to boxing, but he said he was a kickboxer, Muay Thai fighter who loved to let his hands go, so it has been a natural switch. And here we go. You see that height and reach advantage early for Czerkaszyn in the dark trunks, Keith.
Yes, and like you said, his first ever appearance, you know, I was able to see something on both of these fighters, you know. Czerkaszyn, I got to see his Instagram, and what I noticed on IG was his training, you know. I mean, you see the lean muscle mass right now, you know. The kid's in shape, you know. So he has a martial arts background. He knows how to train like a champion. And I always admire that of young fighters. He seems to have his head screwed on right, you know. He's switching, he's hopping around. You were talking about his stance a little bit. I noticed that instantly, you know. He seems a little awkward, but he likes to utilize his long jab. He's got a good size. You were saying that he's fought previously at 54?
Turned pro at 154, has recently been consistent in fighting in the middleweight division, as I mentioned, tonight 161 pounds. But you see it's that 6'1" frame, naturally the bigger fighter against Venegas, who's trying his best to get under that jab and get inside of the body.
Oh, Venegas, you know, he's got some knockouts. He's he doesn't have as many, but with 11, being 19, and with the 12 KOs there, at the end of the day, you know, I saw him work hard. He's got more experience. He's been in these 8-round fights. He knows how to push, you know, and Spanish fighters, you know, are notorious for not going down easily. So I think this is a perfect matchup for, was it? Czerkaszyn. You know, his first fight coming into the United States, fighting a Latino fighter who's going to be tough, who's going to be rough, just like that punch right there, you know. Luckily for Czerkaszyn, he's got that reach advantage. He can play the big man. He can keep him on the outside and make him work. But if
good right hand.
In 8 rounds to go, if he lets this fight continue, you know, he's going to have to showcase his true training habits, and if he has the conditioning for these 8-round fights.
Czerkaszyn said he's more of a speedy boxer than a power puncher. As I mentioned, representing 2 nations there, you see the colors of the flag of Ukraine, his birthplace, and Poland on the right side of his trunks, where he now calls home and fights out of, getting good training time with former world champions Krzysztof Glowacki, Krzysztof Włodarczyk. Certainly said he has plenty of Ukrainian boxing heroes, the Usyks, the Lomachenkos, but a good right hand from Venegas.
That's what I saw on my film, is that he has a good right hand, and he landed one right there. I mean, you can see, I don't think that Venegas was able to win that round, but you saw right at the end that he's not backing down. This is the perfect matchup. I truly think that this is the right matchup for this young man in his career.
One round in the books here between these middleweights. Good contrast in styles early, both having some moments. Certainly had to like Czerkaszyn's output, control the distance.
Yes, sir. What I would like to see right now, I know it's just the first round, and they have time right now. Both corners are talking to these fighters. You know, so what I would like to see is for Czerkaszyn to keep those combinations coming, but mix in those body shots. You know, when you're fighting these tough Latino fighters, they've been hit to the head so many times. They know how to keep that chin down and how to walk you down. So in an 8-round fight, when you're at the 8 and that 10 and the 12-round level, you have the potentiality to nip at that body and slow down these tough fighters. Because like we saw, he's planning on getting on the inside and landing that overhand right.
Venegas snapping a 3-year layoff to take this fight. Last fought April of 2019, a 4th-round knockout win. You know what layoffs, what time off can do, but he's out there looking to press the action early and try to get to Czerkaszyn's chin.
And that's what we want to see.
I love these matchups because you love seeing somebody tested. Czerkaszyn might look like the glossier record of the two, slightly being unbeaten up to this point. But you got to face different styles. You got to face guys who maybe won't go down, who will push you to that limit and give you those rounds.
Exactly. You know, I mean, look, he's utilizing, look, he's reaching, he wants it, you know. So he's being very poised right now, utilizing his range, and he's just gonna have to do that, man. That's what boxing's about, man. Sometimes you just gotta be that tactical fighter. You know, keep that jab out there, snapping it, giving these guys obstacles, making them move his head, and then catching them just like he did right there with a little right uppercut, left hook. See, the jab is just staying out there. Another right uppercut.
Good right uppercut for Czerkaszyn. He's almost using the jab as a rangefinder, but using the right hand upstairs, the left hook to the body.
There goes that body shot.
Kind of has a stance similar to another former Ukrainian champion there, Victor Postal. Very straight up, very much that Eastern European amateur style, but adapting it well to the pros here behind that jab.
You know, right now, like I said, we can see the size difference. We can see that, you know, he's got a test in front of him, but he has a lot of advantages right now. So as long as he gets past this fight, you know, it'd be something to see him in there with somebody who has the reach, has the same body frame as him, who can go, somebody like him who likes to snap that jab out. I like to call it jab for jab. Somebody who can trade with you, you know. But I love his work rate right now, you know.
Like I said, surgical left hand. He finds a way to slip it through the guard with those hooks.
And a little left uppercut. He's just really working angles. For somebody who has a kickboxing, Muay Thai background, you know, because even kickboxers are not notorious for using their hands. He obviously switched sports for a reason, you know. It's one thing, you know, and that's another thing about the distance too. Kickboxers, they have to deal with feet, so they're really used to working that outside. So watching him for the first time, you know, I'm not surprised to see how well that he's able to be on the outside. But he switched sports for a reason. He's really letting his hands go. He's got a high work rate.
Good punches to finish the round for Czerkaszyn. Seemed to be a clear round in his side of it. You saw the output, landing the better shots, the cleaner shots, definitely more of them as Venegas tries his best to overcome the layoff, overcome the height disadvantage. You know, it takes a special sort of setup to get inside when you're the shorter man, the shorter arms. But Venegas is going to have to establish here that he's also the bigger puncher, though, to try to gain back some respect and get back in this fight as we look back on the action.
Underneath, constantly coming underneath, knowing that the shorter fighter wants to duck his head.
When Venegas is able to put on that pressure, though, he does get a little bit of a reaction out of Czerkaszyn.
You know, he's still got a way to grow. You know, I see some holes in his defense right now, you know, but tactically, you know, he's doing a really good job. That's why this is just the right fight for where he's at. He's going to continue to grow, but this is what he needs. He needs some rounds, and he needs somebody to push him.
Czerkaszyn making his first appearance since last October in his adopted home of Poland when he pulled off a 10-round unanimous decision win. Speedy jab there from Czerkaszyn. Keith, if we say somebody's a Philly fighter, we know what that means. You mentioned Mexican fighters known for their durableness. What's a Florida fighter known for? We've seen different varieties, but is there a stereotypic reputation for a Florida boxer?
You know, in the South, it's something about the heat, right? It's similar to Texas, you know. Something about the heat. You just can expect just somebody who knows how to push, a real dog. But, you know, we've seen so much throughout the years. You know, James Toney was down here for a while in his career. We know Muhammad Ali trained down here. So to say that there's a real style, you know, it's hard to pinpoint a style. I see it more of a heart and just the willingness. I mean, when you're willing to train down here in this Miami heat.
I sweat walking from the car to the building. I mean, legitimately sweat.
And you're fighting this humidity. Our AC was broken in the gym earlier this summer, and I just wanted to get out as soon as I got in there, you know. But it makes you mentally tough and mentally strong.
Left hook from Venegas. He just missed with that right hand over the top as he forces the clinch. But, you know, we have seen multiple homegrown champions all the way up from a Hall of Famer like Roy Jones Jr. to yourself, Antonio Tarver, Winky Wright from the same area there, Tampa, St. Pete. Good hotbed, Andre Berto, another contemporary of yours.
Yes,
In
sir.
the greater Orlando area. Good left hook again from Czerkaszyn, who's trying his best to essentially draw that line in front of him, control the distance, control the terms, use the educated jab. Seems to be a young technician here, growing up on the job.
I mean, that's what we're seeing, you know, with clean 1-2s, some awkwardness right there.
Trade shots as Venegas was off balance, but was able to sneak in a straight left.
Reminded me of one of my favorite fighters, Aaron Hawk Pryor. You know, he would do the little spin around from time to time in the middle of the fight, you know. And then he came back with his own big punch. It was very unexpected. I don't think he'll be able to do that move many times, but he needs to keep finding ways there, like that right there, to try to sneak that straight in.
Keith, both fighters a little flirting a bit with switching stances. We're certainly seeing some guys, Terrence Crawford, Boots Ennis, who can do it very well on the elite level. Do you see that it's a trend, becoming a trend, that it's something that's more naturally picked up upon? You know, it's usually looked at, you can only do it if you're elite enough to pull it off. Now it seems like everybody's flirting a bit.
You know, if you look back at some of my fights, I flirted with it a few times. When I fought Bundu, I switched in the first round, happened to drop him from the southpaw stance with a left hook. And that's the one thing I noticed from that stance is no matter how my feet are, my left hook is always dangerous.
Leonard Bundu win back in 2014, December. Remember that weekend big because you were using Floyd Mayweather's name a lot that weekend, saying, look, you know, you got the champion, you got the WBA belt, I got a WBA belt, let's meet in the middle, right?
Oh yeah, that was when I was the mandatory that didn't get talked about much, you know. Then he got elevated to super champ shortly after that, and I got elevated to regular champion, which was a political statement saying, Keith Thurman, you're not touching Floyd Mayweather. But I've had a tremendous career, and I always miss being able to share the ring with him because of his Olympic status, how defensive of a fighter he was, and just how hungry I was at that stage in my career. I remember going throughout the MGM arena around that time saying, burn money Mayweather, burn money Mayweather, you know. So,
well, it was a life-changing payday opportunity, as everyone knew, that was linked with that. So everyone was hoping to sort of get that call at that point. You made a good public push for it at the very least, but as you said, you went on to fight everyone you could when you were active in your era, and you're still looking to do that as we enter round 4 between middleweights. Czerkaszyn in the dark trunks. Venegas, fighting out of Illinois, as I mentioned, looking to just be tough, get inside, try to land that big counter shot.
Yeah, Venegas has the heart, but Czerkaszyn just has the output, you know, and using all the tactical things, dominating this fight thus far.
Keith, I like interviewing you through the years to hear you reference your late original trainer, Ben Getty, and the wisdom that he taught you that you seem to almost spot it off verbatim as stuff that still circles in your head to this day. What do you think he would say about, you know, pay-per-view level unified world champion Keith Thurman had he still been by your side watching you on that portion of your journey?
He would say, without a doubt, I told you so, boy. I told you so. You know, he said, wait till the networks get to see you, you know. He was always prideful, not just how talented I was as a fighter, but really the entertainment factor, right? Because, you know, we're on TV for a reason. People want to see boxing. People want to see world-class boxing. And some people admire technicians. But we've seen throughout my career, you know, I've dominated fighters, but Keith Thurman is not this perfect fighter. I play tug and war. I give and I take, and I have what it takes to beat the best fighters in the world. But there are still holes in my game. I'm still vulnerable. I still take chances and risks. And, you know, it just makes it something to watch. As we were at the casino earlier today, right before we came to work with you, a gentleman just said, Thurman, can I have a...
Good right hand there. Excuse me, Keith.
Beautiful. Oh, he's landing.
He's really walking him down.
He's got him back up. We got 45 seconds to see if he can create a knockdown.
You've been chipping away with power shots, and that'll do it.
Nah, see, yeah. The fighter's upset, but that was the kill zone right there. I think something could have manifested. You know, he might have been able to withstand it, but 4 rounds in a row, you know, he wasn't really able to land and do it.